So thank you very much to everyone. A very warm welcome to this morning's briefing session. So I'll begin by introducing the team in the Irish Research Council and then the Shared Island team. So I will go first. My name is Brenda Blake. I'm a program manager on the New Foundations and Coalesce programs in the IRC. So I'll go to Dr. Anna Stefanovska next.
Hello, I'm Anna Stefanovska and I'm working with Brenda on Coalesce and New Foundations.
Thanks, Anna. And from the Shared Island team, Owen Duffy.
Thanks, Brenda. Good morning, everyone. Owen Duffy, Principal Officer with the Shared Island Unit in the Taoiseach's Department, Prime Minister's Department in Dublin.
Great, thank you, Owen. So as you know, this briefing session is going to give you an overview of the Shared Island Initiative and to provide some key points for assessment of applications received under Strand 8 of the New Foundations call. So this briefing session is going to be recorded and circulated to those who could not attend this morning. After this session, we will email you with a link to the applications on the online portal WiseHive, and you will be able to begin your assessments. We would ask you to please complete them within 4 weeks of today's date. In our email, we will also be providing you with a link to the guide for assessors, which is on our website, and this will offer you further guidance around the assessment process generally and how to use the online system. We will also be sending you a link to the confidentiality form, and we would kindly ask you to send that to sign that if you have not done so already. And I know some of you are assigned applications on other strands, so this might not be applicable to you. If you have any questions now or later about the assessment process in general, you can email us at newfoundations@research.ie. And of course, if you have any questions specifically related to the Shared Island Strand, you can ask them this morning after Owen's presentation. And you're always welcome to email us with questions throughout the assessment process. And if necessary, we can liaise with the Shared Island team and respond accordingly. So I will hand over now to Owen to present his slides, and Owen, we will share them on the screen for you now.
Thanks very much, Brenda, and good morning again, everyone. And thank you for attending the briefing and for your interest in assessing the applications that have been made to the Strand 8 of the Irish Research Council's New Foundations programme, which is focused on the Irish Government's Shared Island Initiative and which is being funded by the Department of the Taoiseach as part of that initiative. So what I'm going to do this morning is two things. Firstly, to give you a quick overview and explanation of what the Shared Island Initiative involves, and then to focus on what we're hoping to get out of the research programme under Strand 8 of the New Foundations programme. So I'll talk for about 10 minutes and then happy to take people's questions. Thank you. So move on to the next slide, please, Brenda. Anna, thanks. So just in overall terms, the Shared Island Initiative is a commitment from the Irish government, which was set out in the Programme for Government 2 years ago, to work with all communities and political traditions on the island of Ireland, Ireland and Northern Ireland, two jurisdictions, to work to build consensus around a shared future underpinned by the Good Friday Agreement. This is a whole of government initiative and commitment. It's being coordinated and led from the Taoiseach's Department, but it involves all government departments and agencies here in Dublin and across Ireland, and also involves working closely with partners in the Northern Ireland Executive and with the UK government within the framework of the Good Friday Agreement, and putting a focus on bringing cooperation to a more strategic level and dealing with major challenges and taking up opportunities for the island of Ireland as a whole. To take the example of the border of the climate and biodiversity crisis, which is obviously a shared environmental problem for the island and for Ireland and the United Kingdom as a whole, and also to focus on border region development in Ireland and Northern Ireland, where border regions are relatively less economically developed than other parts of each jurisdiction. So a shared challenge and a shared opportunity to work on these areas together. Also working with local authorities, both north and south, on a cross-border basis to support their regional development objectives. Importantly, the political commitment is backed with significant financial resourcing. There's a Shared Island Fund, which is €500 million capital funding to be programmed from 2021 to 25, and that is ring-fenced specifically for north-south cross-border investment, meaning that it falls outside the usual competition for budgetary resources that departments have, the government has prioritised and ring-fenced dedicated funding specifically for new north-south investment to back up its objectives under the initiative. Thanks, Brenda. Move on, please. So there's 3 areas of work. The first is shared island investment, which relates to two aspects. First of all, delivering strategic cross-border projects like the Narrow Bridge and Ulster Canal, which are projects that have been talked about in some cases for decades. But the government is putting a focus now on really delivering them and completing them, backed with political commitment and financial resourcing. The second element is developing a new generation of projects. The investment objectives for this is set out in the revised National Development Plan, and it's for the government to work through all island partnerships to create a more connected, a more sustainable and a more prosperous island of Ireland by 2030. So it's a very wide-ranging investment plan and prospectus that was set out by the government last year. The second area is civic dialogue and engagement, and this has been done through a shared island dialogue series, which is to hear from people in civil society right across the island of Ireland, from all communities, nationalists, unionists, people who don't identify with either political tradition, and newer communities and ethnic minority communities on the island, to hear from people directly on what are key issues for a shared future on the island, and where there are opportunities to enhance cooperation and connection between both jurisdictions and between communities on either side of the border, as part of working for a shared future on the island. So that's been a wide-ranging dialogue series which has engaged with over 2,000 stakeholders across the island on a range of different themes and issues over the last 18 months. And the third element is a published research programme, which involves working with a number of research partners, including the Irish Research Council, which is the programme we're talking about this morning. And the purpose of this research is to commission high-quality, independent work, which focuses on promoting all-island approaches to strategic challenges that are faced north and south on the island, and on strengthening social, economic and political links on the island of Ireland within the framework of the Good Friday Agreement. So the idea is to commission work that is published and provides a basis for public and political engagement on the issues that relate to the Shared Island Initiative. Thanks, Brenda. Next slide, please. So specifically, this is Strand 8 of the new Foundations programme, where we have made available funding for up to 10 awards of €20,000 for projects which will undertake research and related networking to contribute new knowledge or perspective that can inform and support the implementation and development of the Shared Island Initiative. So that's really the focus of the work, is to get projects that are focused on informing and developing the objectives of the Shared Island approach from the government, and also to undertake research which could provide a basis for further research proposals with wider scope than is possible under this programme. Thanks, Brenda. So as you'll see in the call document that issued a number of months ago, there are 2 overall areas for research under this strand. The first really relates to the Shared Island investment priorities that are set out under the National Development Plan. And I'll talk through some of that, but it's really focused on exploring how public investment priorities can be put into practice. That's what we want to see the research work focusing on. And the second theme is quite different. It's looking at the issues and concerns that have been raised by civil society over the last 18 months in the Shared Island Dialogue series. And that's quite wide-ranging and a broader set of societal and civic and political questions and concerns have been raised by stakeholders, and we're looking for research that will examine those further and prompt more engagement and interaction on them. Thanks. So just to give you an understanding of the specific areas that we're hoping to get see research proposals coming through in, focusing on all sectoral areas of North-South cooperation, including on specialist health services, looking at sharing experience and resources in the education sector, looking at opportunities to cooperate on higher and further education, including on enhancing accessibility and student mobility, looking at how we cooperate and interact across the border on heritage, arts, culture and sports, and looking at cross-border approaches on renewable energy transition. Next slide, please. A range of other areas as well. You can see how wide-ranging this programme is, looking at climate action, biodiversity protection, marine and coastal environment, circular economy, enterprise development, investment, agri-food and tourism. So as I say, it's really all areas of government policy and where there's scope for cooperation on a cross-border basis that we wanted to see explored with the research proposal. Thanks. Next slide, please. And then the second area is a little bit different, less immediately connected to departmental and government policy, and more about wider societal questions around how you deepen cooperation and connections. And these are issues, as I say, that have been raised in the Civic Dialogue series that the government has run over the last 18 months. And so the issues here that we've specified include how we can celebrate cultural diversity on the island of Ireland, including through artistic and cultural exchange, looking at developing new links between people in civil society, cultural terms, and sports terms, looking at how in both jurisdictions inequality and discrimination is addressed, exploring data systems and statistical systems where there are significant gaps in terms of supporting interaction and policy analysis across the two jurisdictions, enhancing the representation of women, ethnic minorities and young people and those with disabilities, which is a shared challenge and a shared objective, north and south. And also a deeper question related to peace and reconciliation around building mutual trust, understanding and reconciliation across the different communities and political traditions in Northern Ireland and in Ireland, including through education, arts, culture and civil society interactions. Next slide. So that's a very, very quick overview of the government's Shared Island Initiative and the specific areas of focus that we have put on this research call to generate a stream of work that would support that. And I just want to finish then with some points where we're hoping that you as assessors will be able to bring your expertise, academic and specific, to bear in terms of the applications that have come in. Obviously, we're focused on and we want academic rigor and excellence to be at the core of the assessment. That's why we're working with the Irish Research Council, and this program is a really perfect way for us to ensure that. And alongside that, it's important that the research topic is within the parameters of the Shared Island Initiative. There are reference points in the call document that describe that, and that's for the applicants to judge. But we would ask that assessors do bear that in mind. It's a really wide-ranging program, but ultimately there will be topics that do fall outside it, and so your judgment on that is important in ensuring that the research topics are as relevant as possible to what the focus of the policy is. I think as well, a really important point in terms of the relative strength of applications is how focused they are on policy relevant research and conclusions. So we're really interested in work that can, in a relatively short period of time, it's fair to say, generate research and conclusions that can connect to policy debate, to political debate, to public discussion in a constructive way under the wide-ranging themes. So less interested in purely academic explorations of topics and much more interested in work that has a clear connection to the policy making and political discourse aspects of these issues. Another important requirement for applications is that there's a north-south, an east-west or an international partnership approach. So bringing researchers together from Northern Ireland or from Ireland and other parts of the United Kingdom, or indeed internationally, a partnership approach that brings different perspectives, different experience, different researchers together is of value generally and is of particular value here, given that the whole focus of the programme is on north-south and east-west collaboration with international support, an important part as well of the Good Friday Agreement. Second last point to make is around dissemination opportunities. Again, as hopefully you're seeing, the Shared Island Initiative involves a lot of engagement and interaction with stakeholders, a lot of communication from government, and a lot of providing opportunities for people to speak and engage with the issues that are being treated. So we want dissemination opportunities to be a core part of the proposal. So not just focusing on the desk-based research, but also engaging with stakeholders, both in conducting the research and then in promoting awareness and engagement with the conclusions. It's an important dimension of it. And finally, we're keen to avoid duplication of areas of work that we have commissioned with other research partners. So everything that we have commissioned is on our website and set out there, and that guidance has been given to the applicants. But again, we're keen not to cover the same ground as we have done in other research programs. So that's a final point to bear in mind, please. So they were the points I wanted to cover and to hopefully emphasize and explain to you. Thanks again for your interest and attendance this morning, and happy, Brenda, to answer any questions that there might be. Thanks.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Owen, for that overview. We can open the floor now to questions. If there are any, you can raise your hand or just shout. So I think, Britta, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, it is any interaction cooperation. It's not limited to that. It must include a north-south cooperation on the island of Ireland.
So what we've asked for is that the research cooperation should either be north-south or east-west, or a relevant international collaboration. So I suppose, you know, with a researcher internationally who has some experience or some comparative perspective that's relevant then for the context on the island of Ireland.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Britt. Jeffrey, I think you had your hand raised.
Just as, oh, okay, good. I was going to say, just as I was about to ask a question, construction started outside the window. So sorry, I hope this is not too loud. Just to the last point, Owen, about not having duplication. So can previous work build on, and it doesn't have to be the same research team or the same researchers, but if there's reference made in the sense that the researchers understand that there is an element of replication here, that awareness would allow them to then build on that research rather than it being seen as simply replication, if you understand what I mean there.
Sure, no, and it's a good point, and the answer is yes, that will be fine.
Great, okay, thanks, Jeffrey and Owen. Eleanor?
Hi, thanks, and thanks for this briefing. I thought I had a handle on it before I saw 20 topics, geography all over the place. And I mean, I just would caution that we have to remember these awards are 20,000. They're very modest, 6 to 9 months in terms of expecting even a catalytic or new foundation effort. I think we also have to be respectful to the applicants in terms of what's feasible and possible with 20,000 euros. Also, frankly, I think maybe it would be worth considering. I know you've left us a wide open menu of both related to government policy and civic dialogue, but frankly, either of those could swallow up that. So I wonder, and it's probably not possible today, but would it be helpful to have more specific guidance on thematic areas that are of critical concern in the next year, for example, that therefore guide the awards. So I think it's a wonderful initiative. I think it's great. I wish there was more funding in it. The awards seem very small, even for exchange of knowledge and research. So I think I would just be concerned about not overburdening, not over criticizing the applicants either in terms of the scope of the ambition, because it's very ambitious from what you've laid out this morning. But thanks.
Thanks for those points, Eleanor, and we will definitely take those into consideration. Sorry, Owen, I maybe have cut across. Did you want to say anything on that?
No, I was going to let you go first, Brenda. If there's anything else you want to add from the IRC point of view on that, and I'll come in then.
No, that we do understand that they are very small awards, and they do have very great impact and outcome considering the size of the award and the amount of time. Like you said, 9 to 12 months is not very long time to create those networks that they do, but we have seen, you know, fantastic results, and we do see it as a seed funding as well for applying to a larger grant as well. So we would hope in future that they would be looking at grants that would be 2 to 3 years long, and perhaps up to €200,000. So that is part of this process as well, as to feed into that.
Thanks. I mean, just to add to that, and that captures very well, I think, our view of it. Look, it's a really fair point you make, Eleanor, and we're conscious of it. I suppose a couple of things based on the set of applications that have come in. I think there's probably a manageable number to work with in terms of the amount of funding that's there, recognizing that it's only at a certain level. The program was run last year, and we were very happy with kind of how it went in terms of the researchers, I suppose, are people who are experts in their own fields and bringing that expertise, and then looking to add on or explore, begin to develop a basis for further research on a cross-border basis. But absolutely get what you say in terms of it only scratching the surface. That is the nature of it. But actually, it's intended to be open source and wide-ranging, specifically to cast the net as wide as possible to get the work going, and then, as Brenda says, to provide a basis then for larger research propositions then in the future. And there's a number of from the Irish government side, there's a number of funding programs that will be relevant to that, including the North-South Research Program, which is in the bigger ticket multi-million, multi-annual programs that have been taken forward, and Horizon and Peace Plus and the Research Council Coalesce are all opportunities that we would be encouraging researchers to be thinking about as well as they undertake this initial work. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Great, thanks both. I don't see any other raised hands, but just shout if I've missed anybody. No, okay, I think we've got everything. So as I mentioned, if you do come across anything or you have any questions or require clarification while you're assessing the applications, please do reach out to us and we'll be happy to help. So thank you to Owen, thank you very much for presenting this morning and for taking the questions, and thank you to everyone for your attention and your participation in the process, which is greatly appreciated. As I mentioned, we will be assigning the applications to you on WiseHive this morning, so that window will open for 4 weeks for the assessments to begin. And our email will contain the link to the guide for assessors, which should help you navigate the system. But again, if you have any questions or any problems logging in, just let us know and we'll get back to you. So I think we will leave it at that. So thank you again and have a good day, everybody.